And this is about when people complain that they've been running adverts or that they've got a website or they've got a Facebook page, but they're not getting any business. So what I want to do is I want to talk for just a couple of minutes about conversions. And then what we're going to do is I'll go and answer any other questions that you have that come in. But what tends to happen is a lot of people, and not just electricians, but a lot of people in business, they set themselves up, get themselves organized, or they've been in business for a while, and then they decide, I'm going to run some ads because I need to get some work in. And they run some ads, and 9 times out of 10, they copy other people's ads, or they abdicate responsibility. So somebody would call them and say, oh, you put an ad in our magazine or put an ad on our website or whatever, and they'll design it for you, right? Okay, big mistake, by the way. Don't ever let that happen. But then the ad runs and they pay their money for the ad, whether it's 100 quid or whether it's 700 quid, whatever it happens to be, they pay their money for the ad. And then they wonder why they didn't get any results from it. And what they're forgetting is that there's a couple of things at play here. Number one, people aren't always ready to buy your service when you're ready to advertise it. Okay. So your advertising should be more about awareness than about getting sales instantly. Okay, so your advertising, you should never just wait to advertise when you're tight on work, because when you're tight on work and then you go and you post out an advert, number one, you got to spend some money, and if you haven't got the work, you don't want to spend the money, so things get done messy and done badly. And as a result, you end up having feast and famine. You have no work coming in, and you go, oh, I've got to advertise, and then you'll just do it hastily and you'll do it badly. So what you got to realize is that you can't force somebody to buy your service just because you need work. What you need to do is have people aware of the fact that you exist, so that you have a constant trickle of inquiries that you can take work from. And in order to do that, and in order to do that properly, you cannot advertise like some of the big boys, like the Coca-Colas of the world or the Nikes of the world and all of that, where they're actually, they turn on the tap and they get people buying stuff. They put out a new set of trainers, put up an ad, and people will buy their new trainers. Why? Because it's Nike, because they put up an ad, because they got new trainers. That's it. You can't do it that way, because if you put up an ad saying that you do great outdoor lights, well, you know what? If nobody fucking needs outdoor lights in your area, then you're not selling any outdoor lights. Got it? So what you need to do is create awareness and make sure it's consistent. And in order to do that, you've got to look at your conversions along the way. You cannot just put an ad out or a leaflet out, an ad in a newspaper or a web advert, or put up a website, or just put a post on Facebook and hope, because I've done that, a flood of freaking work is going to come through the door. It doesn't happen that way. You need to look at the whole process. And in order to look at the whole process, you've got a number of different stages along the line of your customer journey where you have the opportunity to convert that work. Now, when I say convert it into work, you also have an opportunity, excuse the language, to fuck it up as well. Because 9 times out of 10, if a person calls you to go and do a quote for them or to price a job for them, at that point, they're ready to do work. And you can cock that up by the way you respond, by the way you interact with that customer all the way along the line. So the hard work has been done. They've made the phone call. They're now talking to you, or they're talking to a member of your staff or somebody who represents your business. Everything that happens after that depends or will be dependent on whether you convert that into work or not. So along the line, first and foremost, with anything to do with conversions, you have got to put in some pre-work. You've got to make sure, I guess, like any building that's standing, it needs a foundation. And the very same when you are running your business, when you're planning to advertise, you're planning to promote, you can't just turn on the ads and go, oh, I'm going to put out ads and work is going to come from it. You need to constantly have information out there about you, about what you do, about who you are, so that when your adverts go up, then people know that they're not having to dig around and find out information about you. So we call it pre-preparation. You've got to be pre-prepared before you start advertising, before you start campaigning, before you start building a funnel and looking for work. And you do that by introducing things like YouTube, your website, your Facebook page. And yes, you should have a Facebook page, business page, not a personal one. You should also have a YouTube channel for your business. You should also have a website. Importantly, you should also have Google My Business. But there's other activities that you can do in order to pre-prepare people. In other words, it's not a surprise. When they need an electrician, you're already in their consciousness, because within your local area, you're dominating things like Facebook, you're dominating things like YouTube. You've gone and you've visited the local estate agents and they know that you're available. You've attended networking meetings and they know that you exist. You've got articles, and I don't mean advertisements, but you've got articles in local magazines or local freebie newspapers. These things are all things that pre-prepare your audience, in other words, your potential future customers, to know that you exist. Because now, by providing all of that content and all of that stuff out in the world, when they need an electrician, it makes it an easier choice for them to go, oh, I recognize that, I recognize him, I know he exists, he's very helpful, he posted that article, he has that Facebook page, and so on and so forth. Now they're conscious of you, they're aware of you. So when your ad goes out, then it makes it a no-brainer. Okay, so there's a lot of stuff that you can do to pre-prepare. And by the way, for those of you who are not toolboxers, we do a lot of this inside the toolbox. We teach a lot of this step by step inside of the toolbox, how you can set up and pre-prepare all of these things. And you do all of that before you ever do your advert. But then, you may have done all the preparation and then put up a crappy advert that doesn't do you any justice. So your advert needs to be designed in a way that it's going to convert cold, that is people who know nothing about you or had no clue what you did, into lukewarm, at least an inquiry. And the way you'll do that is by designing your advert in such a way it meets what we call in the toolbox an AIDA principle, but it gets their attention, it engenders some interest about what you actually do, and it has a call to action. There's a number of different steps that we do throughout. And some people waste a lot of time, effort, and money on doing glossy, shiny, flash adverts that don't get the phone ringing, when something very simple and basic that appeals to the type of customer that you want to work with will get the phone ringing. So your advert affects your conversions as well. And that's why you should never, ever, ever abdicate on your advert and pass it off to a graphic designer or somebody like that to promote your business. Why? Because a graphic designer is more interested, much more interested, in showcasing their work. They want things to look pretty and nice. Pretty and nice doesn't necessarily mean it's effective at getting your ideal customer to pick up the phone and call you to book an appointment or to book a quote. Okay, so you've got to take responsibility for your advertising, and based on the AIDA principle that we teach inside the toolbox, there's lots of training in there for you that you can actually go and look at that, figure out how the ad will work for you, because an ad that works for me may not work for you. An ad that works for you may not work for somebody else. You've got to think about the type of work that you're doing, the type of customer that you're advertising to, the area that you're working to, and so on and so forth. All of these factors need to be brought into it before you can convert cold traffic into an inquiry. And that's from your advert. But there's so much more to it as well. Things like your website. Look, any kind of advertising, whether it's a leaflet that goes out, whether it is an ad in a magazine, local magazine, whether it's your website, which is in fact an advertisement for you, whether it's your Google My Business, whether it's a Facebook page or a Facebook post, all of this needs to have a number of things. Number one, it needs to be targeting the right audience. If you target everybody, you are wasting a lot of energy, because you can't work with everybody. So you've got to narrow down the type of people, what we call in the toolbox your ideal customer that you want to work with, and you target that ideal customer. That means then you're not in competition with hundreds and thousands of other electricians. You are targeting a specific niche, a specific type of customer that you want to work with. There's a lot of detail about that inside the toolbox. You need to be speaking their language. You need to talk to them about their pains, about the problems that they normally come across, about the issues that they're having that you solve. And that doesn't necessarily always mean, oh, the cracked socket that I can fix. It sometimes can be as simple as a concern: am I going to be ripped off? Is he going to leave my house in a mess? Is the job going to be left half done? Those are concerns that real concerns that customers have. And if you alleviate all of those concerns within the language that you use in your your pre-preparation, the stuff that you normally do, the videos that you do, the posts that you do, whether you do that in your advertising, all of this alleviates and gets rid of the questions in a customer's head, because they're already having a conversation in their head, and make it easier for them to hire you. So you've got to make sure you speak in their language. You needs to be clear that you can solve their problem, and you need to have a call to action. The amount of times that people don't actually have a call to action, they just put a phone number or they just put a website address up, but there's no call to action saying, call this number, call me now, with your name on it. And we know why we teach that inside the toolbox. But you need to have a clear call to action, because people respond to instructions. They respond to call to actions. So there's, as I say, within your website, within your advertising, there's a number of different places where your conversions can fall down because you're just not getting the language right, because it's just not targeting the right kind of people. But then let's say you get all of that, and then they call you and they say, okay, we'd like to book you to do the work. We'd like you to come and do a quote for us. And they try and book you. There's a lot of areas where it can still fall down. Because in the whole process of making the sale, when you're making the conversion from somebody who's inquired through to getting that work booked in, there's a lot of things that can go wrong. You could prepare the quote badly, or maybe not prepared at all. How many times have you had customers say to you, you're the third person I called, we've had 3 other people out and none of them sent the quote? Yeah. How many times have you actually been sat on a quote for 3 months or so at a time and thinking to yourself, I must get that done. I must get that done. 3 months might be a bit of an exaggeration, but I must get that out. I must get that out. I must get that out. And then suddenly you get it out, but they say, well, sorry, we've got somebody else to do it. It's done. So all of these things can affect your conversions. The way you send out the quote, you send out a scrappy quotation, just a basic Word document with a few words and a figure on it, that can affect your conversions. The way that you present it can affect your conversions. Whether you follow up with them afterwards or not, that can affect your conversions. How many times do you send the quote out and then, later, weeks later, you're thinking to yourself, oh, I haven't heard back from that, but you've done nothing to follow up on it? That can affect your conversions. How you communicate with the customer, the way you respond when you pick up that phone, when they call you and they ask a question and you think, oh, fuck yeah, another stupid question. They sense all of that. That will affect your conversions. All of these things can stop you from getting business. And you're thinking to yourself, my ad doesn't work. I'm not getting any work from my ad. This is, you've got to look at the whole process. Is the pre-work done? Is the advert the right kind of advert for the kind of work that you want to do? Is the website and all the documentation all set up properly? Are you handling the inquiries properly as they come through? And then, of course, when you get the job, there's points there. Okay, now you've got the job, but are you going to get repeat work from them? My goal with every customer is to turn every customer into an evangelist. And what does that mean? An evangelist is not just a customer who goes, oh yeah, I'll recommend you if I get the chance. An evangelist is the kind of person who goes out, and when they're talking to their mates in the pub or in a restaurant or at work, and they say, you wouldn't believe the freaking electrician that came around the weekend. You wouldn't believe the guy who did X, Y, Z. That's an evangelist, somebody who talks about you because they're in awe of the way you've treated them, in the service that you've actually given them. And your object should be to create evangelists out of all of your customers. Why? Because they are your best advert. When they're talking about you, they're your best advert. But you've got to give them reasons to talk, not just hope that they'll talk. And this is why I have this big bugbear about people who say word of mouth is all you need. Word of mouth is all. Yeah, word of mouth is great, but it needs controlling. It needs managing. You can't just hope that's going to happen because, oh, I did a great job, therefore they're going to talk about me. Not necessarily. You've got to manage the process. And all of these things affect how your ads convert. All of these things affect how you build your business, whether you get repeat business and so on and so forth. So don't just sit back and say, my website's not working, my ad's not working, my Facebook post isn't getting me any work. Look at everything that is around it. Look at all the pre-work that's gone in. Look at all the documentation that goes out. Look at how you handle the calls when the calls come in. Look at the kind of posts that you're putting up on your social media, not just on your business page, but on your personal page as well, because I guarantee you people are watching that. If somebody's researching you, they're not just stopping at your business page, they're going looking at your personal page as well, if they can access it. And if they see stuff that they don't like, then they ain't going to pick up the phone. And here's the problem with that: you'll never know the ones that don't pick up the phone. You just don't know. So you carry on doing the things that you're doing, you don't know what's affecting your business. So you need to do some self-auditing. You need to look at, how am I getting in the way of my business? What am I doing that would prevent or stop people from calling me? Conversions. Anyway, okay, guys, do you have any questions, queries, comments? If you have any questions, then please do hashtag question. If you're watching this on replay, please do hashtag replay. If you are not yet a Toolbox member, then hashtag not yet. By the way, if you're not yet a Toolbox member, why not? I'm going to do a very, very quick pitch for the Toolbox right now, because if you're not a Toolbox member at the moment, you should really be a Toolbox member. What is the Toolbox all about? Toolbox is all about teaching 6 simple steps to growing your electrical business in your local community. We look at 6 distinct areas within the Toolbox. We look at an area to specialize in other words, your niche. And the problem with most electricians is that they don't specialize. They are everything to everybody, and then they wonder why they're not getting any work, because they do commercial, industrial, domestic, everything from a single socket to a complete rewire, blah blah blah. It's a waste of money, it's a waste of time, it's a waste of effort trying to promote all of that, because it confuses people and they don't know who or what you stand for. So you need to niche down, and there's a whole process for dealing with that. Positioning, some part of that we've been talking about this evening. There's a whole module on positioning yourself in your local community to make you the go-to electrician. Most people don't bother about positioning themselves. What they tend to do is what I said earlier, is they'll decide that they need some work, put an ad out and hope that they get it, and then wonder why they're not getting a response for their ad, or why they've wasted that money. I'm going to have a sip of my coffee before it goes too cold. Here we go. We then look at creating awareness in your local community. That is all down to advertising and the ways that you advertise. In the main, within the Toolbox, we look at very low and no cost methods of advertising in the first instance. Yes, there is lots of areas where you can do paid advertising, but in the first instance, we try to exhaust all of the low and no cost areas of advertising. Because look, you're looking to influence a local community. You're not looking to influence the world. You don't need to influence the whole wide web. All you need to influence is enough people in your local community to make sure that your business is successful. We then look at building relationships with those people in your local community, maintaining and keeping those relationships even after the point of getting the work. Not just having a transactional relationship where you get a call, go and do a quote, go and do the job, get paid, end of relationship. That's not the way to build a business. You need to have ongoing relationships with your customers to make sure that you build a strong foundation underneath your business. Then we talk about all of the methods of keeping in touch with customers, and doing so in a way that doesn't irritate them, but make sure that your name remains on the tip of their tongue when they need you, or when they know somebody who needs you. And then we look at systemizing all of that so that you're not taking all of your life doing it. And we work towards what we call a marketing hour, which is a great principle to work to, in order to make sure that you have a funnel of work coming in. You can increase your prices, work less, earn more, and have a much more successful business. What do you get within the membership? Within the membership, well, you get 24-hour access to all of the training material. We have weekly live events just like this one. We do a live Q&A every Monday evening for our members. We do a live training every Wednesday morning, and we do a Saturday afternoon or Saturday morning live Toolbox talk as well. As well as that, we have regular meetup. We have quarterly meetups as well, physical meetups as well, and we do a lot of social meetups for charity and for our own social events as well. We have tried and tested templates, everything from leaflets to letters that go out to estate agents, to homeowners, to landlords, newspaper ads, magazine ads, help sheets, loads of templates for various different things, email templates, everything, you name it, they're there. You get a free email and website. So you get a free website and own name email address. So rather than having sparkyjohn@gmail.com, you could have, you know, like me, said james@kentelectrics.com, your own email address. You get a private and supportive community. The Toolbox community is a closed community to members only. Within that community, they are a fantastic bunch of helpful members, all looking to grow their business, but also helping one another to grow business as well. Not seeing one another as competition, but seeing one another as collaborators, helping one another along the way. And even though some of them are in and around the same communities, they're helping one another, they're covering for one another, they're passing work to one another, and so on and so forth. And it works extremely well when you follow the system. What else have we got? Well, much more. There's lots and lots, too much to go into detail here. There is, of course, a small investment. If you want to know more about it, then go and visit www.jdewane.com/toolbox, www.jdewane.com/toolbox, if you want to know more about the toolbox and what it is all about. If you want to discuss it with me, then just email me, james@jdewane.com, or private message me on Facebook. I'll set up a video call. We can have a conversation, see if it's a good fit for you. It will be a good fit for you. We've got over 300 and I think 40 odd members now in the community. They're all at various different levels. They've been around for various different lengths of time, and they're all getting various levels of success within their business. You don't stick around a community like this unless you are getting some kind of success with your business. We also offer a 100% money back guarantee for your first month. If in the first month you look at it and you think, I'm not going to learn anything here, you will, by the way, or it's not for me, we don't give you a hard time. There's no tie-in. We're not saying you got to stick around for 12 months or 50 months or anything like that. It is literally, if you don't like it after the first month, say, James, this isn't for me. Can I have a refund? And we will give you 100% of your money back. Absolutely no hassle. I was going to say no questions. I will ask questions because I would want to know what I can do to improve things. But I am not going to hold a gun to your head and try and keep you in an organization that you do not want to be in. But I would hope that you'd be open to give me some feedback on the reasons why it's not for you, so that I can improve the service that we give. And trust me, we give a freaking good service. You know, I am very, very passionate about what I do. I'm very passionate about seeing my members succeed. And I believe that that comes across in all of the work that I do with the guys, whether I'm working like this of an evening or whether I'm working one-on-one with people as well. So if you want to find out more, jdewane.com/toolbox is the place to go. Right. I'm going to come and have a look and see if you guys have any questions, any queries. And then we will wrap things up. So let's have a look. Question. Oh, this is an interesting question. When do you know it's time to have another person to work with you? Both. The way I always operated on this is when I start to turn away work. Now, if you manage your work properly and you're doing things in terms of the toolbox way, in other words, all of the work that you're doing, or most of the work that you're doing, is profitable work, you will get to a point where you are turning work away. When you're turning enough work away that you can say, look, if I had taken that work, I could have that extra person on board. Now, I'm talking, if you're talking about a skilled person, somebody that you can send out and work for you. I'm not talking here about an apprentice. I'm not talking about somebody that's going to sit there making a tea for you, holding your hand, or holding your toolbox or anything. I'm talking about if you want to employ another S.P.A.R.K.S to help grow and build your business, you market until you are at capacity. And when I say at capacity, the guys I've worked with previously in the toolbox, and there's a few of them here tonight on the call, the guys I've worked with previously in the toolbox, what they will do, what I will encourage them to do, is market themselves until they're at capacity. And then when they're starting to turn away work, the first thing that you do is you increase your prices. Because by increasing your prices, you will naturally deflect, in other words, push away the people that can't afford to work with you. And that's something that a lot of people are afraid of. A lot of electricians, a lot of tradesmen are afraid of that because they think it's a bad thing. It's not. It's a freaking good thing. Because when you up your prices and you still keep some work, but you're pushing people away who don't want to pay the higher price, what you're in effect doing is you're freeing up time, but you're earning more money. Not going to go into the whole of that detail at the moment. So, okay, so what do you do now? You continue to market yourself, and you position yourself now at a different price point, and you continue to market yourself until you get to a point now where you're turning away more work again. So you've pushed your prices up, and now you're turning more work away again. When you're turning away enough work and you look at that work and you say, if I had taken that work, I could have afforded the salary for another individual. Now, you may already be able to afford it with what you're charging, but you don't want to bite into what you're charging already. That's your profit. Okay. You want to know that when you take on another person, you're not taking a financial hit. So you have a look and you think, right, I've turned away 3, 4, 5 projects this month, or whatever the case is, that would have paid for another person. Now you know you are ready to take on another person. And when you take on the other person, you don't have to charge them out at the rate that you are being charged out at. So you can start to take back some of that work that you were turning away previously. That's how I would work it. That's the way that I've done it previously. That's the way I look at it in my business. If you want to talk about this in more detail, both just book in, as a member, you can book in a one-to-one call with me anyway, and we can go into it in more detail. But that's a brief overview. First and foremost, up your prices, gain back some time, because you will need time with a new person coming on board. Then as you market and reposition, build up a reserve of people that you're turning away. Take a look at that for a month or two and say, right, now I can afford it, because if I take that work in future going forward, I can afford to take on another member of staff. Chris McTernan has joined. Nice to see you out there, Chris. Who's out there that hasn't said hello yet? Daniel Robinson is out there. Good evening to you. Who else is there? Can't see. Sorry, I'm just flicking through the phone to see those of you who haven't jumped in to say hello. Right, okay, both. Hopefully that helps answer that question. Let me have a look. Any other questions there, guys? Guys, if you do have any questions, do get them in. Somebody here coming up as Facebook user saying GMB is a golden stream of work if done correct, and it's free. Yeah, absolutely. As I said, with the toolbox, we will encourage you to exhaust all of the low and no cost ways to market your business before you start spending money. So you need to exhaust all of these areas and run them alongside as you are promoting, and as you are starting to spend money on your marketing. You need to keep these free areas up and running as well. But yes, GMB, when it's done properly, when it is worked properly, works extremely well. David Nemeth, good evening to you, sir. Right, guys, if you do have any questions, please do get your questions in. I'm just going to go to a post that came up in the group earlier. Let me just bring this up on screen for a second. So this is from Adam, and Adam was asking, is it acceptable to block a customer's number? He said back last year he did several jobs for the customer. He then later in the year had an issue with tripping, due to a leak because he'd left the tap on in the room above, yada, yada, yada. So we can get the gist of this. Look, bottom line here is, Adam, number one, you run your business. You don't necessarily even have to block a person. Now, by the way, lots of the members, as usual, lots of the members jumped in and gave some really great advice on this and responded really well, which was great. But here's my take on it. First and foremost, you run your business. You do not necessarily have to block somebody in order to say no. What you need to do is become strong enough to say no. I'm sorry, I don't want that project. I'm not interested in that project. I'm too busy to take on that project. If this is a brand new project and it's not something that you're in the middle of or you're tied up in already, then you can quite easily say, sorry, I just don't want to do it. Full stop. You don't have to give any other reasons other than that. Now, our ego, our personalities, all of that tells us that we need to justify. We need to have reasons. Look, you run your business. You own your business. Nobody else should be able to dictate to you what you do or you don't do. Now, one caveat here, and this is important because I know a lot of people were saying, yeah, go ahead and block him, go ahead and block him. Here's the thing. You have already completed work for him. Okay. That means that you are tied into warranty. Doesn't matter what organization you're with, whether it's NAPIT or the NIC, you are tied into warranty for a given period of time. Okay, which means that if they pick up the phone and call you under warranty, and I know and I appreciate that the work you're talking about here is not under warranty. I get that. I understand that. and you don't have to take on any work that's not under the warranty. You can just say, no, sorry, not interested. I don't want to put up extra stuff for you. I don't want to go and have a look at your fault because it's got nothing to do with me. But if it's stuff that comes under warranty, you have an obligation to respond if it comes under warranty. Therefore, blocking them could be seen to be obstructive by you. In other words, if something did happen under warranty and they tried to get hold of you and they could not get hold of you, then that might land you in a bit of stuck with your awarding body. So just be aware of that. But if you learn just to say no, then you don't have to worry about that, because you can leave them on the phone. They call you and say, can you come out and have a look at this? Sorry, not, I'm busy, I'm not interested. I've got other work that I need to deal with. I won't be coming back to your property. Great. If they then come back and say it's something under warranty, then you have an obligation. You must go and deal with it. So I wouldn't just block them straight away. But be aware, you own and you run your business, nobody else. Cool. Guys, if you have any questions, do get your questions in. We had another one in the group earlier. And this is from David. David was saying he's just starting to think that he lives in a difficult area. And this is in reflection to the number of leaflets that he's distributed. He's distributed 1,400 leaflets, and he's only received 3 calls from those. David, look, the thing about leaflet, number one, the thing about leaflets is they do work, and they work when they're done properly. That's number one. But number two, they will work at different levels with different people. If we go back to what I was saying earlier about conversions, we cannot force people to buy if they're not ready to buy. No matter how many leaflets you put out, if the people in those properties don't need electrical work at that time, then they're not calling you at that time. And this is why we design the leaflets the way we design them. This is why we distribute them the way we distribute them. This is why we run what we call the Leaflet Domination campaign, which is hugely successful, by the way. But what it means is, and it goes back to what I was saying, you can't expect that I'm going to drop the leaflets and everybody's going to call. Now, that will happen in some cases, and you will hear people like that in the toolbox, where they'll go out and they will do a domination campaign, and within a day or two, their phone will be buzzing off the wall. They will have a huge amount of calls, and they won't be able to find space in the diary, and all of that. And that's great, but that's because within their area, people have needed that kind of work at that time. But then what they will see is a drop off in that for a period of time. But what you don't see is the long-term effect of the way that we design the leaflet and the campaign that goes with it. These things last for a long, long time, and you get calls off of them for a long, long time. George Papp is on this call at the moment, and George will tell you, so it's no bullshit, because George is just up the road from me, that I still get calls off of leaflets that I have sent out 6 years ago. And the reason I mention George is because now I'm off the tools, I pass those leads, I pass that work straight over to George. So it's there was 2 people I used to pass it to, but one of them sold his business to George, so now I passed him to George. So George is growing and developing his business in the local area. But yeah, I still get calls from the leaflets that I distributed 6 years ago. They were the last leaflets I distributed 6 years ago, and when those calls come in now, rather than just say I'm done, I'm off the tools, I just explain I've retired from the tools now, but there's a gentleman in the area who's picking up the slack. I'll pass your details to him, and George picks up the slack from there. So these things work, but you've got to be patient with them, and you've got to persist, and you've got to do the domination campaign. There's no point in just going out and dropping 1,400 leaflets and hoping that the phone's going to start ringing. You've got to do the domination campaign. This is why people say leaflets don't work, is because they'll go out, they'll drop 1,000 or 500 leaflets, and they'll think that they're supposed to work like magic. And by the way, if they're not toolboxes, they're designing them wrong as well. So that is hopefully that helps. But again, the members jumped in and responded to that. As you can see, 19 comments there after you posted that earlier today. So look at the responses that people gave, and realize that it is, number one, it's a numbers game. Number two, it's patience. And number three, it is about making sure you get that domination campaign done as well. Cool. Well, I'm not seeing any other questions come in. If you do have any questions, guys, let me know. If not, I will be wrapping it up very, very shortly. So what have we got here? Steve Palmer. James and I have worked together for a number of years now, and I can tell you, by the way, I haven't paid him to do this. I can tell you that this method works fantastically. It's not long before you notice the quality of your clientele increase and you take control of your time. There you go. Not a lot I can tell everybody in a short space of time, but there's a huge amount of training in the toolbox that does exactly what Steve was just saying there. Excellent. Right, guys, I'm not seeing any other questions, and we've gone over the hour, which is great. But I'm happy to stick around and answer questions if you have. But if you haven't got any questions, I'm just as happy to wrap it up and call it an evening. If you are watching this on the replay, then do hashtag replay. If you have a question when you're watching it on replay, then just hashtag replay, hashtag question, and myself or one of the admin team will respond and will answer the question. And if you are not yet a toolboxer, go and have a look at the link jdewane.com/toolbox, jdewane.com/toolbox, and get your membership application in. You should be a part of this community. You should be, instead of sitting here thinking, oh, is it for me? Isn't it for me? Get in, get involved. If you're looking to build a local business, look at the results. Look at the results that many of the members are getting in the toolbox. And if they can get them, you can get them. So don't sit there thinking, oh, maybe I should spend some money with this lead generating crowd, and I'll give that one that sounds like smell.com, I'll give them 600 quid and maybe I'll get loads of work there. Don't. Come into a community of like-minded people like this, where you will build your own marketing assets that will drive your business forward and serve you and not some other organization. Wonderful. George, what's George saying? George is saying he's lying. Don't believe him. James sends a job now and again. I still get calls from Leaflets, while the last couple of years I'm not doing many. Looking to get back to them. Yeah, thanks, George. He's just down the road. Right, okay, not seeing any other questions coming in, guys. So I'm going to bid you farewell. I'm going to say good night. If you have had some benefit out of this evening, let me see some thumbs, hearts, and smiley faces going up across that screen. Just keep tapping away at the thumbs, the hearts, and the smiley faces, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to say good night, and I'm going to play you out with a little bit of music. Take it easy, guys. If you're watching on replay, hashtag replay.